Hi, everybody. Let's see. There it is. Good morning. Hi, Donna. Enjoy your massage. I'm super jealous. Could go for a massage. Hi, Yvonne. And who else did I see on there? Patricia, Susan, Stephanie, and Heather. Thanks for joining today, guys. I appreciate you being here. Hi, Angie. Good morning from Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Need more coffee. Hi, Amy. Amy, I mailed your card pack out yesterday, so hopefully you'll be getting it in a few days. Good morning, Sherry. How are you doing? Hi, Linda. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. Hi, Marcia. So today we're going to do something which I've never done before. I've seen this done a lot, but I've never actually done it. And yes, I am in my bathing suit already because I'm figuring the rainbow stamper is going to want to swim. If it kind of clears up. It looks not so great this morning, but we'll see. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Donna. Hope you guys are well. No sound. That's not good. Can anybody else hear me? I did switch to a different device today, so we'll see if I have a little bit better luck. And it is very overcast here, so I know it's a little cloudy looking. Hi, Megan. Thanks for joining from Australia. Donna from Michigan. Terry from Pennsylvania. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh, Stacy's coming in from Florida. Hope you're well down there, Stacy. I'm thinking of you. And Deborah's joining from Washington State. Good morning. It's time to wake up. Okay, so what I have today, and I've never done this, so I didn't know how many, but I have a whole bunch of rubber bands. They are kind of varying sizes, but I have a lot of asparagus rubber bands, which those are all pretty much the same size. But I have a couple skinny ones. So apparently when you do this technique, what you do is you get a block, and I don't really think it matters what size, and you wrap rubber bands. I'm sure you guys maybe have done this before, but I never have. But you wrap them around. So that's what we're going to do today. I think I'm going to use the Sending Sunshine stamp set, which coincidentally, this is going to be my July club to go if you're interested. I have several different ways to purchase it. You can look on my blog, rachthestamper.com. I have 3 different ways you can get just the... Hi, Gina. Nice to see you from Bel Air, Maryland. You can get just the PDF and the video. You can place an order and get the club kit for free. There's a couple different choices, but this will kind of be like a bonus card. So I'm going to do something with this, and I think I'm also going to do something with Tasteful Touches. Now, there's also a couple different ways. You did it on the rubber brayer. That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. There's a couple different ways you can do this. So I've never done it, so we're going to try it. And then next Wednesday, I'm going to do, just so you can, if you have to go out and get these supplies, because you may or may not have it, but maybe you do. We're going to do the shaving cream technique next week, because I haven't done that in a while, and that's really, really fun. But it's nice because you get different stuff every time. So all you need is a can of shaving cream. It can be scented, but it doesn't have to be. Bonus to whoever gets your cards, it'll smell nice. But it can be cheap, like dollar store cheap. Mine was like the cheapest one that they had at Target that wasn't a brand name. So next week we're going to do shaving cream. This week we're going to do rubber bands. So we're using supplies hopefully you have in your house that maybe you can just get another use out of and do something else fun. So one other thing, I got my catalog as a demonstrator. I can't show you the inside yet, but you guys, I'm hoping, we actually got ours pretty early considering the last time we got them a little bit late, but you guys should be getting your catalog if you are a customer of mine probably at the end of July, I'm thinking. So yes, and it can't be gel. Thank you. No gel shaving cream. It has to be foam. Thanks for mentioning that, Donna, because that won't work. So keep your eye out. Like I said, the demonstrators are still receiving theirs, but I did do the customer order, so they're shipping directly from Stampin' Up. So hopefully they should be coming to you guys, I'm thinking the end of July. If you don't get one by, I say like the end of the first week of August, please let me know and I will call Stampin' Up, or else I'll just mail you out another one. Now, all of my customers who are local will get one delivered from me. Amy, though, since you are a demonstrator, you should have gotten one. I think you said you got one already. So that is pretty fun. So we're going to use, again, Tasteful Touches, Sending Sunshine. This will kind of be a bonus. And then I might even bring in the Hawaii set. I think it's Tropical Textures. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've used it. So we're going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp these, but instead of putting it like all over the background, hi Cindy, we're going to mask and just have like a bar. I saw a couple cards like that that were really cute. The other thing you could do is you could stamp a full sheet and then cut it down and maybe add it to your card. So I saw lots and lots of ideas on Pinterest. There's tons of idea. But again, I've never done it before, so that's the more important thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap a few of these rubber bands around. Now, some of them are a little looser than others, so those I'll probably wrap twice. And then I have like a few, that one won't stay on there exactly. Let's see. Yeah, I have a few skinny ones just for like some different markings. I don't really know how many you need. So to start, we'll do, I'm going to add one more. We'll just do a couple. And I'm going to do one more fat one. So let's see. We'll do one more this way. I'm going to try to even do one like on the diagonal. I don't know if that might, yeah, that's going to work. So I'm going to put it on here. So again, I've not done this. So learning process for all of us. I do have my chamois. That way I can wipe it off, and I have like some scrappy towels, the ones that I usually use. So you probably need some sort of a wiping device if you want to do more than one, because what I'm thinking is we're going to stamp it, wipe it off, and do a different color. So I thought to do something fun, what we'll do is we will do Melon Mambo, Mango Melody, and how about Bermuda Bay? Because that seems like a nice combo. So we're going to try this. Oh, my best. Mine, Debbie, no joke, some of these, when I pulled them out, they were dry rot because I put all of mine into a Ziploc bag because we don't really use them that often, but I'm always like, I'll just keep them for just in case. So maybe you'll get some clean rubber bands you can wash down or something. That's just, the whole thing's funny to me, isn't it? Whoever thought of this in the first place, but it really is a good idea. So, but I understand. I did the same thing with my, like a lot of my bags when I went to the grocery store in the beginning, and I was like, oh no. And I'm not one that even, I like to bring my own bags or like reuse I'm like, nope, I'll just get rid of them just to be safe. So I totally feel where you're going with that. Okay, so one other thing before I flip, bonus days are now through August 3rd. So if you spend $50, you get a $5 bonus coupon to use August 4th to the 31st, which is perfect timing for the holiday catalog. So super excited about that. So I'm going to flip you guys around. I love the colors too, I know. And let me take you off of here, and I apologize. So I'm on my regular phone. I have it, we're moving. I should have said that ahead of time, I'm sorry. I have it on Do Not Disturb, so hopefully I should not have any interrupted phone calls because I have it just on Do Not Disturb. So hopefully that'll be fine. I have my iPad set up here so I can see your comments. And we're going to see if this one's better, because I seem to think I was having a little bit of an issue last week with the internet, but I think also that my other phone, which is my really old phone, I think that it's starting to overheat. I think this is like a 6. It's starting to overheat, and I think that's why it was glitching the other day. So we'll see. If this is better, then maybe it is the old phone, and unfortunately, I guess I'll have to get a new old phone to do this with. But what we're going to do, I did cut myself a whole new stack of Whisper White. If you guys remember the other day, I said that I have these nice folders. They are 5 by 8. Stampin' Up! Sells these in a pack. And what I do is I just cut up a bunch of Whisper White so I have it ready. So I'm going to take 2 of the bigger pieces. These are actually quarter sheets, whereas these I trim down to 4 by 5 1/4. So we will do, actually I'm going to do 1 and 1. Let me do 3. So I have one full sheet, and this one we can cut down, and then these two will mask. So you can do your masking a couple different ways. You could use, and hold on, I'm going to show you without hopefully knocking anything down. Have a lot of very strategic placement here. So this is labeling tape. It's Post-it tape, so it does come off pretty easily. It does not have a high tack, so it's pretty gentle on your cards. You could use something like that. You could also use, and I really, let me pull this out, I'll stop yakking. I really like this. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, however, I really like it a lot. It's called masking paper. And you can use this for your project. So if you stamp something on it, you can trim it out, and you can use this over and over again. So you could also use a piece of masking paper. So it has removable adhesive, and then this part is the mask. So that's something else. I will link to this on with my Amazon link if you are interested in getting that. So that works pretty well also. This is great to use when you can even like stamp something and die cut it and then cut it a little bit closer, but you can use this over and over again. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have it up here. No, I put that one away, but when I made this card, so this is the Moana card with the pig, I actually masked this with that because it really gives like a nice edge, and you peel it off and it's completely white. So I have a Moana card that I made as well, with the Beautiful You stamp set, which is sadly retired, but it's a great product to have, the masking paper. Or you can use, again, Post-it tape. Post-it tape is very low tack, so it's not going to leave a whole mess behind. Okay, so let me move over. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab a piece of grid paper. I can find a piece that's relatively clean. Because I want to try to make sure that I line this up so it's even, really. That's the one thing I want to do. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to do ours with the piece going across the middle. So I'm just going to line it up here, just so it's even. So I'm really just doing the grid lines to be able to see. So for now, I'm just going to tape. This is just an old piece of purple tape. It's extremely well used. Purple tape you could mask with as well. That's another good one. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to grab a piece of this. Doesn't have to be too big. The nice part about the bigger one, if you get the 2-inch roll, it has the nice tear on it, so it makes it easy to tear. But you could use this over and over again as well. So let's go. I'm going to go down a little bit, and I'm just making sure that I kind of lined up with this line here. And then I will just continue to hopefully use these pieces over again. We'll see. So I'll make like, I want to make a kind of a wide strip. And that's not wide enough. Let's see. Go down a little bit farther. Okay. So I just have this strip that's open. So I'm just going to press a little bit at the seam so nothing accidentally goes over. So here's what we're going to do. And again, we're going to learn as we go. So the first go round might not be so good, but we will try. I'm going to start with the lightest color. So I will go mango to melon to Bermuda. And hopefully what I'm attempting to do here is going to turn out pretty fun. So we will see. So I'm going to just put this into the ink pad. You might need to really press. I don't really know. Yeah, so I guess it kind of depends on how much. So I'm going to pull this one off because we can't really get to the other pieces. So I'm just going to pull this. And it might be that you need to use kind of all the same rubber bands, but we'll see. We're going to dip in this one again. I'm going to kind of rotate it a little bit from where I think I was in the beginning. All right, so that's going to be enough. So I'm going to do my best to kind of wipe these off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go orange to pink on this side, and then I'll use the Bermuda on the other side. So make sure these are flat. I might, while I'm at it, I'm going to try to spread them out a little bit just to see if that helps. Okay, so I kind of wiped it off. I don't really know how well, I will say. So we're going to go now again. Let me untwist this one so I can get it a little bit flatter. Must be twisted under here. Okay. And oh my gosh, it's so quiet in the house. It's eerie. Rainbow Stamper's downstairs doing Osmo. I don't know if any of you, your kids or your grandkids have that, but it's really fun, a little learning thing. So dipping again. Now remember, they're never really going to quite be the same because you're going to turn them and different parts are going to pick up. Also, this is the old style pad, so it's a linen pad, so it's going to pick up differently than a foam pad, for example. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that looks pretty good. I'm just going to wipe off as much as I can the excess ink. And I'm assuming the one thing you probably want to be careful with is, only because it would hurt, make sure none of your rubber bands are dry rot, because if they snap, that's probably could make a mess and it may not feel so good. So again, I'm onto a foam pad here, so this probably is going to look a little different. So I'm going to switch to the other side. I'm going to attempt to just try to make sure some of these are flat. These two here don't want to seem to be flat, but that's okay. We'll just kind of spread them out a little bit. Okay, so Bermuda Bay. See, I got a pretty good inking on that one. Just going to give it like a 90-degree turn. And same thing. These kind of almost, the way this looks, it kind of reminds me of fireworks. This might be kind of neat for like a military or 4th of July kind of card. The way these happen to work out, they do look very fireworkish. So you can see it does stain your rubber bands, but you know, if you have plenty of them laying around, you could use different ones for each thing. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to unmask this, and hopefully we should have a really nice white line. I'm going to save this because I'm going to use it over again, so I'm just going to stick it up here so it's out of the way. Hopefully it's not going to fall into the screen. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one because we're just going to use it again for that second one because we'll use the same cards. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to add some contrast to this. So there's our piece, which does look pretty cool. So for the first one, we'll do Sending Sunshine. I'm going to do this little leaf scape here. And I think I'm also going to add in the mountain, not mountains, the cloud. This is like a little, to me it looks like a cloud break. I'm assuming that's what it is. So for a cloud break and have these little, there's some little dots. We'll do that. So we'll just try these 3 things. So what I'm going to get out, and I do want this to be a really, really dark black. So you probably could try it with Stays On. You could probably try it with Memento, but for some reason my Memento does dry a little faster. I don't know if it's just the environment here. So I'm going to use VersaFine because it's a very dark black. One thing is though, you really have to let this dry if you're going to use it, okay? Because it really tends to, it's a pigment ink, so it stays wet longer, but it gives a really vivid color. So, all right. These are, coincidentally, this is the same company that makes Memento and Stays On. It's just a different type that Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry. So I'm going to just put over here. I'll go with one. Again, I do have a mat underneath of this because this is a photopolymer stamp. You really want to make sure you're stamping on a mat because it gives you a much better impression, especially for photopolymer stamps. And we'll put one over here. That looks good. And we're just going to add just like a couple of these little black splatter doodads. And I'm going to see this now. I don't know if this is going to look, excuse me, how I thought it would, but we'll see. Maybe we'll do this like half and half. And oops, close the lid. And maybe one over here. Okay, so I'm kind of going for like an abstract-y style card, obviously, with the rubber bands. And then what I'm going to do is, and we'll see which way we kind of like better. I think I'd like I would rather have the bigger white space down at the bottom because I could have added the sentiment, but we'll keep it this way because I think directionally it looks better this way. So we're going to add, how about we'll do inhale, exhale, enjoy, because that's pretty, just like a relaxing thing. And I'm going to do this with Bermuda Bay, but I'm going to clear heat emboss it because we don't have Bermuda Bay embossing powder. And I was actually just talking to a friend of mine the other day about this, how you can make any color embossing powder you want as long as you have clear. Sorry about that, I was plugging and I know you guys can't hear me when I'm down there mumbling. So as long as you have clear embossing powder, you can make any color you want. So I'm going to grab my clear embossing powder and my coffee filter. Okay, one thing I am going to do, let me just move these guys to the side. This here, you do need Versamark. And absolutely, because we did a lot of stamping, and also with the tack from the tape, you really want some sort of an embossing tool. So I still have my embossing buddy. If you don't have this, I'm pretty sure you can get one at a big box store. We no longer carry it for some reason. Not quite sure why, but... So you want something to take down the static, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to open my embossing powder, and I'm going to first crank on my heat tool, okay? So you want this to be really, really hot, because the hotter it is, the faster it will melt your powder and it warps your cardstock less. So I'm going to set that on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to open all of our inks. I have my stamp. So I'm going to stamp it in Versamark. Then I'm going to stamp it in Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to put it down here at the bottom. And I'm going to dump my powder. And if you're worried about this, you could even use the Stamparatus, because then you could double stamp it if you wanted to. Give it a good flick. Okay, and I noticed there's a little bit of powder here. So I have these brushes that I keep handy just kind of in case. I'm just going to brush this off. It's clear, so you really wouldn't notice it so much as if it was like black or a color. And one other tip. Do make sure before you heat, and sometimes I'm not very good at following my instructions, so make sure you at least do it, that you clean up your embossing powder, because if you heat it and then put it back in, it's never going to melt exactly the same, and it can kind of funk up your embossing powder. So then this is screaming hot. I'm just going to move this back and forth the whole time, and the reason you want to move it is because you don't want to singe your paper, specifically because it's white, because it definitely will show. And you can see, just look at that, super quick. It turns shiny when it's actually heated. So I'm going to give it a second because it is melty and it's hot and it will burn your finger. It sticks to your hands. Trust me, I've done that one too. So then you have this really shiny image. So we're going to wrap this one up and then we'll make another one. So what I'm going to do is to kind of keep this like super bright, I think I'm going to either put it on black and then on mango, or maybe mango and then black. So I'm going to get both of them out. I did do a really super other thing the other day with my zip folders. I labeled them. So now when I have them organized, I have mango on both sides, and I try to make sure I keep the word side sticking out. So if you struggle with organization, that might be a good tip. That's too small. Nope. No, I have to have a piece in here somewhere. Let's see. I think I might do black layer and then mango as a base, because I really like that. So we're going to do that. And let's see. I don't know if I have any pieces that are... Nope, I'm going to have to cut one. I need to order more basic black paper. I must have been using a lot of it lately. A great pop color for when you want to really like bring up a level of something. I really, really like it for that. Okay, so we're going to trim this one too. I might need to trim this down just a smidge now that I think about it too. Because I'm going to do this one 3 3/4. So I'm going to take off a little bit of the top and then I'm going to change this to 5. So since we have our words over here, I'm just going to trim this side down. Ordinarily, I would take like a 1/4 inch off of each side, but so there's that one. And then we're going to cut this down to 4. And the reason I'm cutting a whole panel is since we're doing this, there's a good likelihood I might repeat this with the layering of the colors. So we'll layer this together and then we're going to put it onto the orange, which will really make it pop. For some reason, I think this is not a, this needs a little trim. There we go. Okie doke. And I probably should have, but I didn't. So let me just score this in half real quick. Oh, rainy Canada. Well, I'm glad. At least you have something to do. And this is a good one to go back and watch because we did some fun stuff today. So thank you for joining, even if it's late. No worries. Look how fun this is. What a great color combination that is. And I really like the black. It really makes everything pop. I like it a lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me grab my adhesive. So this is the, I always forget to get the ends when I do the Stampin' Seal, but I think, I know some people have had some issues with the Stampin' Seal. I haven't had any problems with it. I don't know if I just got a lucky batch, but I think that we were used to pressing so hard with the fast fuse, so this didn't line up correctly, and I got a little bit of glue here, but that's okay. I'm just going to wipe it off. That I think it's probably going to be a learning curve for everybody with the Stampin' Seal, but I do like it so far. I think it sticks way better than snail. I will say that 500%. Since my black ink could still be wet, that's why I'm pressing from the back side. And then, oh, look what Lisa sent me. I got the little tray for the Tipsy. I want to show you guys that. This side, the reason I have this one upside down is because this one is leaking like a sieve out of the bottom part because I took it apart and squeezed it. So I figured I could use this one for the underneath piece. But it's really nice because they slide in and out super easily. I did give away a couple Tipsies. Actually, I have to list the winners for those. I did a YouTube live on Monday. That was... oh my goodness, that was the same thing with the pixeling and everything. That's why I think it was ending up being my phone. But make sure you leave a comment today because she sent me some imperfect Tipsies. So I will give some of those away. Doesn't matter what the comment is. Would love for you to leave a comment. Give me some hearts, some thumbs up. I did goof that up there a little bit. Subscribe, share, depending on what platform you're watching this on. So I have a little whoopsie there because when I turned this ink must have been wet. So I'm going to use, I have this sand and rubber eraser. You do have to be gentle because it does actually sand a layer of your cardstock off and you can go down to the layer below. So you want to be careful, but it's kind of nice just for getting little goofs off. Lightens them up significantly. So there's that. Really cute. Nothing to it but stamping. When is the last time I did a card with just stamping? I can't even tell you when the last time is. That's how long it's been. But really cute. So we're going to try that again. And what I'm going to do for this one is I'm actually going to take a few of the rubber bands off. Just to give it like a smaller pattern. So I'm going to take these off. And I'm going to kind of rearrange it. So you can look at this beautiful card while I do that. And move it over just a little bit. Kind of change up the direction of the rubber bands. Okay, so there's those. And I'm fairly confident the ink is dry enough. If this is something that bothers you, it does really make the rubber bands pretty afterwards. If this is something that bothers you, you might want to use different ones for every color. But I'm going to let you know because I'm going to stamp into the same stuff again. So I'll let you know if I have any issues. We'll go here. And these are kind of twisty, as you can see. But I'm going to leave them that way just for it's a little bit different texture. So I just removed one, but I kind of reassigned them, let's say. So there's our one. Really quickly, I just want to wipe these off because in case we decide to use something different, clean these off real quick. One thing you really want to make sure you do is clean Versamark off of your stamps. Any stamp, whether it's photopolymer or rubber, because the Versamark is such a tacky ink that it really attracts a lot of lint and dust, and it can kind of make your stamp set a little bit mucky with all that extra stuff stuck to it. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to go back to the same thing again. Let me move this out of the way. Bring these 3 back in again. All right, and where is my... First I'm going to do is the bigger piece, okay? So this one, what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to just stamp all over it. So I'm not going to mask anything this time, and we'll see maybe what we could do with this card. So I'm going to do the same thing again, starting in the same order. So lightest to darkest, I'll do mango, then... Yes, mango, then melon, then Bermuda. So same thing again. I'm just going to dip into my ink pad. And this one I'm kind of just going to go willy-nilly. So wherever it ends up. Okay. Definitely is pulling in a little bit of the ink when it reactivates. So my suggestion to you, since maybe you like to keep your ink pads clean, is to have maybe a different one per block, just to be safe. All right, so that's a good amount of mango. And we'll move on to the melon. I'm gonna actually wipe this off this time with the... I'm trying to keep them slightly in the same position. So I'm trying to be a little bit careful, but not sure how careful I actually am. Okay, there's that, and then into the melon mambo. Man, it looks like it is going to pour outside. So you can see that big stripe is taking a lot of the ink. So if you don't like your pattern, that's the other thing, is you could definitely change around how it's going to show up. But I kind of think it looks pretty neat. It's just different sizes of stuff. So again, I'm going to wipe this off, but then I'm going to flip to the other side for the Bermuda. Okay. And kind of dry this a little bit. Oh, you have a thunderstorm, Pennsylvania. Maybe that's heading our way. We did get a lot of Pennsylvania storms the other day, I can tell you that for sure. Hi, Maryland. Thanks for joining from Vermont. I bet you Maryland is enjoying some really cool weather. Does it get that hot in Vermont? I've never been to Vermont, so I have absolutely no idea, but I imagine it's not nearly as hot as it is here on the mid-Atlantic eastern seaboard. So same thing again. I'm just kind of mixing these up. Changing my position. Okay, so I feel like that's good. So what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to do something a little different. This just kind of came in my head, so I figure I'll give it a try. Let me just wipe this off. Okay, so to make this just a little more exciting, I'm going to try to give it a second to dry. Okay. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down, because I always end up doing this afterwards, and then I'm mad because I did the part that I was trying to do first and save time. So this is a full piece, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into 4. Well, you could do a couple things. You could either cut it into 4 equal quadrants. You could cut it into like 1 1/4 strips, or you could even do it this way if you want to put a strip on. But I'm going to try it this way. So if this is 5 1/2, we're going to do 2 3/4. And 4 1/4 will be 2 1/8. So I have these. So I think I'm going to do these in 2 separate things. So 2 1/8. All right, so we have this. So now what I'm going to do, and I might need to get another piece now that I think about this, but let's see. So we went with 2 3/4. So I'm not going to make a big border. I'm going to go with 2 7/8 by 2 2/8. see if I measure correctly. So we're going to put that. I think I can get at least one out of the other one. So 2 7/8 by 2 2/4. So for this one, we'll go like that. So we'll put these two together. This will be one card. And then I'm going to use this black piece. Let's see what this measures. We'll just put a sentiment. So that is about 2 7/8 by 1 3/4. Let me see if I have a scrap piece of white here. Said 2 7/8, so we'll need 2 3/4. I think that's what I said, right? Yep, 2 3/4 by, and I said 1 3/4 by 1 and 1 2 3 4 5/8. This does not look correct. Hold on. That's why. 1 5/8. I don't know exactly what sentiment's going to fit on here, but I just basically made a little layer. So these we're going to make into one card. And then this one I'm going to do something a little bit different with. So here is what we're going to do for that. So instead of having the layer, this one I'm actually going to sponge. So I have black sponge. It's either black or it needs to be cleaned, one of the two. And I'm going to sponge the edges of this. So these are like turning out to be super 80s retro cards because of the bright colors and then the black. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for those. And then I'm going to show you something else. And what time are we running on here? 10:10. So we're kind of getting down to the wire. So let me grab... I think I'm going to do mango for both. No, you know what? I'm going to do melon mambo for one. And mango for one. All right, so I happen to already have a melon, so that worked out well. And I think I'm going to layer that directly onto that, no background. And then this one, I'm going to do a background layer and mount that onto black. Let me grab my black one more time. Ooh, man, I really need to order some black. Oh, there's a piece right there. I forgot. Some black cardstock. Stat. Okay, let's see. This need to be trimmed. Yeah, so I'm going to trim this to 4 1/4. And I'm going to trim my mango piece to 4 by 5 1/4. This one is already ready to go. And I think this one just needs to be scored real quick. All right, so this is going to go on here. But before we do that, what I'm going to do, that's going to be for this one. We're going to put this other card together real quick. And then we'll do this other one because I have a totally different idea for that. I'm going to keep this piece just in case I need it. We'll see. So I'm going to layer these together. Just put a little bit of liquid glue. So I just basically made them 1/8 of an inch bigger. So the black is 1/8 of an inch bigger than the stamped part. This one we need to add a sentiment to. Oh, this will work out. We'll just do this one. I love this one. I think this is one of my new favorites. You are the best. That's actually from Tasteful Touches, just in case you didn't know. And we will do this one. Let me put this a little bit straighter so I don't goof it up. We'll do this one in mango, just to kind of offset. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn on the heat gun. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. So, whoops, wrong one. Embossing Buddy. That side's dirty. We'll do this side. Embossing Buddy on the white. Okay. Open these up. We have Versamark. Then the color that we want. So Mango Melody. I'm gonna kind of center that. Oh, not really centered, but we're gonna fix it. Okay, so sprinkled the powder. Let me dump this back. Okay, so really quickly, we're going to heat this. Super hot. Okay. Now, I did say this is kind of a little bit off center, so to fix that, I'm going to bring in these little squares. And where's the block? We'll just do this with the, where's my other color? Mango, melon. Just to kind of give like a little something to kind of slightly center or straighten the off-centerness. Probably could have stamped that off a little bit first, but that's okay. All right. Now, one thing to remember, this is heat embossed, so if there's a little bit of ink on top of that U, you can actually wipe it off. Might smudge a little because it's a little wet, and it is. So I'm just going to go with the smudge. Kind of just make it part of the card. Same thing down here. I'm kind of trying to smudge away. There we go. And one final thing, because, you know, I can't leave all enough alone. I'm going to take my Bermuda Bay and just go around the edge. You could also do this with your ink pad if you don't have the marker. Or you could do it with a blender pen. Or if you happen to have the Stampin' blends. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to put some liquid glue onto our black panel. Glue this down. Now, because this is a little bit smaller, you might have to hold it because of the heating. It's a smaller piece. Sometimes it still does tend to warp a little bit. Okay, so then, let's see, put this, let me fold this. Bone folder is hiding here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, this is going to go one dimensional. So I'm going to glue these down. And then we'll pop the sentiment up one dimensionals. So I'm kind of centering, like this one's up to the left. This one's kind of more down to the right, so they're somewhat centered. And then since this is black, you can definitely use your black dimensionals if you want to, since it won't show through. I do try to say that if you're using them on plain old Whisper White, not to use the black dimensionals because it can kind of show through like you have a smudge. So I try to just use them on darker cardstock or on the thick Whisper White. These cards are so like totally 80s. I haven't said that in how many years? So there's another fun one. Could totally skip that little ink there if you wanted to, but I think it's really, really, really cute. So we have one more to put together. Now this one, you might think it is a little dark, and the way I'm thinking of it in my head, you know, sometimes you think of something and you think it's going to look good, kind of like the card we made on Monday. One of them turned out really great, and the other one is in the recycle bin already. But what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to find my pieces. Here they are. So there's one. And actually, I don't think we need this anymore. Well, we might. You never know. Really quickly, I'm going to clean this off just because of the Versamark so I don't forget. Versamark can definitely be kind of tacky on your stamps. Okay, so the last one, we had this one we did first. Here's the last one. And the black. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to stamp something, but I don't know what. So I'm thinking to do something different instead of doing this. I'm going to stamp maybe this and the feather, or the feather. I'm trying to think what would look nice with the lines because I kind of want to soften it a little bit. I think I'm going to do the feather. And what I'm going to do with the feather, which might sound a little weird, and again, sometimes things in your head are nicer than what they actually turn out to be. I'm going to stamp this, and I am going to use the VersaFine because it gives really nice detail, but I'm going to stamp it in black on the mango. And then that's kind of figure out would maybe be like a fun pop. So let's see what this looks like. 1, 2, 3. Actually, so all 3 of these, when you use, this is definitely a different ink. I'm going to have to be very cognizant not to smudge it. So first, second, and third generation still look good. So I think I'm going to do all 3. So I'm going to kind of just move around. So I'm going to fold this again so I don't get that ink on my card. And so we'll go with 1, 2, 3. And I try to keep the generational inks separated, if that makes sense. Which for this, it might be a little hard. So I try to have like light, medium, and dark mixed so they're not all the same ones. Hopefully that makes sense what I'm trying to say. Only thing you want to be careful is when you stamp partially like this, you want to stamp off because otherwise you'll end up getting a weird line. And I think that might be good. So I'm going to leave it like that. I don't want to push it. And for an added bonus, while this is actually still wet, I'm just going to try this. I'm not sure how much it's going to stick, but we'll see. And I probably should have done my embossing buddy ahead of time, but... Okay, so that's clear. Let me crank this on. Ooh, gosh, I almost dumped my whole powder out. Gotta love it. A little of this is dry, which is okay, because it's going to be covered a little bit anyway. Okay, so I'm going to set this down for a sec. Let me dump this so we don't have a catastrophe. Okay, and then I'm going to heat this. So the embossing was a total not planned addition at the last minute here. So you could always leave that off. But it kind of will help me in 2 ways with helping the black ink to dry so it doesn't smudge. Because this, the VersaFine ink takes significantly longer to dry. Let me turn that around. And some of them are going to definitely have more ink than, or more embossing powder than others. Which also kind of goes with the inking. So you can see some of them are much lighter and some of them are darker. But it does kind of look pretty cool. So, there you go. And I think somehow there is like a little bit of iridescent mixed in with my clear, but okay. So now, this will make a nice Halloween card. Boy, I got to keep this in mind for that. This will make a cool Halloween card with the mango and the black. Okay, so I am going to make sure, I'm actually going to do both. I'm going to do some fast fuse too, because I'm trying to go through it all so I can be finished with it. But I'm going to put, because we embossed this, I'm going to put... Well, I'm going to try to put it. I'm going to put fast fuse and liquid glue. Just so it really stays flat. You could also run this through your embossing machine with just like a sheet of printer paper. That'll kind of also help flatten it out. But I'm just going to put a little of both glues. And... go this way. Obviously, we're definitely going to need a piece of Whisper White for the inside here. Gosh, this looks so nice on its own. I really kind of hate covering it up, but we'll see. These might almost be a little too big, as I kind of said before. So maybe we'll end up using one of these pieces on a different one. Let me see what we can bring this in. I'm going to do Hoping Your Day is Perfect. And I'm going to do this in, I think I'm going to do it in Bermuda. But I'm going to just stamp it on a little scrap piece. Just to kind of not cover up too much of that. Hopefully that's going to work. Let's see. So I will still be live next Wednesday. However, the week after that, we'll be on vacation. Actually going to the beach. Hopefully everything will stay good enough that we can still go there and be healthy. So I'm really hoping for that, just to have a change of scenery, which I feel terrible for complaining about a change of scenery when everything insane is going on in the world, but hopefully it'll be a little bit of refreshing. Gosh, this almost would look really cool. I'm gonna have to cut this down a little bit more because I don't want it to take away too much from the background of that. It's almost like, isn't that crazy? Sometimes you make something and then you're like, why am I covering this up? So if you are second guessing and you're making this card after the fact, you can always not cut it or not cover it if you wanted to. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so that's definitely smaller. And I'm going to do one other thing. Hopefully this will work. I'm going to cut a piece and I'm going to cut this diagonally. We'll see if my idea works. I'll put this behind here so it kind of makes it pop. Yeah, that looks neat. We'll do that. Okay. Just never know what you're going to get with me here. Put a little bit of glue here, because I kind of want this to stay up so they don't really connect at all. Put a little glue here. Definitely going to have to hold this for a second so it doesn't end up lopsided. Okay, and today is the 9th, right? Is that correct? 8th. 2 more days if you're interested in signing up for the paper pumpkin. It's that Summer Nights one, which looks pretty cute. So there's 2 more days left to sign up for that. I'm going to put these up on dimensionals. It kind of also help to hold it in place a little bit. This is definitely a mixed feeling, sentimenty kind of card, right? With this crazy pattern and then these very soothing feathers. So you can go whatever direction you think you want to go with this one. This one is definitely, I think in theory it's good, but it might just be a little bit too much for some people, including myself. But you know, you never know, right? You never know until you try, and then you're like, okay, that wasn't my favorite. Let's not repeat that one again. But somebody might really like it also. That's a whole nother. So we did end up with one extra little piece, which really isn't too bad. So let me move some of these things over so you guys can see. So remember, we did Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, and I don't know where my mango, oh, here it is, and mango. That was our color that we used today. We did use Versamark to make our own stuff, our own custom embossing powder colors. But I think this one looked really cute. I like this one too because it's super fun. This one, I still think it's neat. It's got a lot of different impact to it with the different textures, and I still have this little piece that I could make something out of. So I think overall this actually turned out pretty well today, considering I have never done this before. I had no plan whatsoever. I still think it turned out pretty cute. So hopefully you guys will give this a try as well. This will be pretty fun if you've never done it. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take these rubber bands off, and then I'll kind of wipe them off with my little microfiber cloth. You do want to make sure that you take your blocks and either like rinse them a little bit with some mild dish soap. You could just use like a little bit. Apparently also, if you used hand sanitizer, if you have enough to spare, you can get all these little glue spots off. Mine always ends up getting sticky stuff on them because I use them for everything that I'm not supposed to. But so I'll just take these and kind of wipe them off. You probably could even rinse them underwater if you wanted to, because the ink is water soluble. It might stain a little bit, but that way you don't have to worry about maybe reusing them and transferring your ink. But I think these are fun. Great idea. I mean, I think for a first try, these turned out pretty excellent. And next week, in case you weren't here in the beginning, and when I mentioned it, next week we are going to do the shaving cream technique. So if you want to get supplies to be able to do it, you have to have foam. You cannot use gel. You have to have foam shaving cream. But it's really fun. You need a paper plate, a plastic knife, like something you would get from carryout or whatever, some paper towels, because it helps to wipe them off if you want to make the cards right away. But I will tell you one thing. I'm not sure how many cards we will actually get made only because you do have to let them dry a little bit. So we might just be making a bunch of backgrounds that we can make into cards, but I'm going to try to at least make 1 or 2 of them into cards. But you use ink refills, you use shaving cream, and a paper plate. It's so much fun. It turns out different on every single card, but it's really, really cute. It's like something fun that you could even do if you have kids at home and they want to do something where they want to help you, or maybe even make a card for their friend or a family member. Super easy for them because it's very quick cleanup. You just fold the paper plate and throw it away. It's really, really easy. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you have had as much fun as I did. I really love meeting with you guys every week because, if you can't tell already, it makes me smile. It makes me very, very happy to have somebody to craft with, even though you're not really in the same room with me. So thank you guys for stopping in. If you haven't already, please leave me a comment. I will pull for some tipsy winners and we will send those out. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, if you click the subscribe button and turn on the bell, it will let you know the next time I go live. And it looks like so far, I think on this, except for the fact that my battery is dying, we have had much better reception. So I think I'm going to have to retire my old phone because I think it's seen its day. Either that or I have to get a new battery in it. One of the two. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you again real soon. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.